Hi everybody. In this video, I'm going to try to tackle information to help you better narrow your topic. If you're having trouble just even navigating the choice of the topic, we're going to talk about some things with that and how to do some preliminary research so that you can really get a good idea for how to develop your topic. I wanted to say a few things before we get started. I know it's very frustrating, especially if you've never been asked to do this before, to choose a topic out of thin air. From my perspective, on my side of things, sometimes it's kind of difficult to teach it all at one time. So a lot of times in class, I sort of begin by just giving students ideas of what they're expected to do, give them a little space to explore and think. Then I bring in some assignments to help you narrow and shape the topic more efficiently. I'm not trying to make it frustrating on your end, but I think all too many times in middle school, high school, and just life situations, we all, in some respects, have these safety nets where we're not really forced to think on our own, or we're not really put in situations where we have to problem solve. So this has been just sort of an exercise, and this will continue to be an exercise in this class. That's one of the reasons why this is a required class for all majors, or most majors, because these skill sets are things that will aid you in success in future college classes, future jobs, all sorts of sort of critical thinking type things. So if you're a little frustrated with your topic selection, it's okay. All of us who research, we have these experiences where we just don't get a real good hold to start with on exactly the direction we're going in. I often equate it to a crazy straw or a winding road. You sort of go in a lot of different directions, and eventually you get to the destination. If you kind of visualize one of those crazy straws, the ones that kind of go, around, the liquid that goes through the straws will go in a couple different directions before it straightens out and, goes out the end of the straw or comes up the top of the straw, whichever way you're thinking about the straw. But same thing when you drive. If you're, not quite sure where you're going, you're kind of using your GPS on your phone, or you're kind of trying to remember how you got there last time. A lot of times you have to rethink, how you're navigating. So topic choice is sort of a navigation. It's fine if you get a little lost. You can always turn around, circle back, and find your way. I, as your instructor, am not expecting you to be perfect with this. When I do my own research, when I've done other research projects, it's not been perfect. It never is. A couple of tips that I'll give you, and this is very old school, but when I researched, and I even did it today when I was doing a little project for preparation for class, I keep just kind of paper, and I don't want you to think I'm like 100 and I only use paper, because I use my phone and I put a lot of notes on my phone. So it would be fine if you did that on your phone. But the problem with that is a lot of times we use the phone for part of the research. So if you're also trying to take notes, it may not exactly work. So I use just old school. I keep some paper, and as I do research, I kind of make notes. I did give you a research chart to maybe put some information in. You can use that as well. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about how to sort of shape your topic. So we're going to go in a couple different directions. I may turn this into 2 videos, or I feel like I'm on, how TikTok works. Sometimes you're like, there might be a part 2. But I really wanted to talk to you a little bit about the topic selection. I wanted you to realize that it may change shape. You can't really change your topic once you choose your topic, but it may change shape as you go, because obviously you're going to get new information. You're going to have more clarity on the topic. You're going to feel more comfortable with it. And so, yes, once you've sort of chosen that category or that topic, you're going to narrow it further as you go through different assignments. We're using it the whole semester. So obviously, as you become more comfortable and get more knowledge on the topic, it may develop further or change shape slightly, and that's okay. So there is no perfect here. There's a lot of imperfect, and that's okay. So, just give yourself license to to feel that kind of uncertainty. It's okay. The key here is to be resilient, to continue to be curious, to engage with the topic. I know a lot of times in middle school or high school, you get these worksheets and you sort of have to, circle things or give the teacher exactly what they're looking for. And a lot of times with college instruction, we don't want that. We want everyone to sort of think individually and think critically. And to start with, we don't know what you're going to come up with. It's sort of up to you to show that, hey, I've really stuck with this and I've really engaged with it and I've developed something that has some substance to it. So that's sort of what we're looking for here. You're not going to make me happy one way or the other. I mean, I want you to be successful, but I want it to be a topic that you enjoy researching, one that you can kind of stick with through a bunch of assignments and a bunch of tasks that you'll do with it. And so you can just be careful with that. I did give you sort of a list on the topic selection situation of topics I didn't want you to explore. That includes topics that deal with doing the job, because I'm not really teaching you how to be a nurse here. I'm not teaching you how to be an engineer or a teacher or, a sonographer or any of those types of things. What we're doing is we're learning how to sort of develop knowledge and to research a topic, and we're sort of problem solving in a way. We're looking at issues within a field of study, and then we're trying to come up with some solutions to solve those issues. So it's more critical thought. It's more development of research. And so it's not really me teaching you how to do a job. So you'll do that once you get into the major, once you do your internships or your clinicals, or once you get into, your junior, senior year at a senior institution, you'll be doing all that kind of stuff there. But here we're exploring information. So that's sort of what English 112 does. Okay, so think of it this way. We're going to be doing some preliminary research and we're going to be doing some scholarly research. Those things they go hand in hand. They work together. For the scholarly assignments that you'll be doing, you'll be, including the scholarly research in those. We'll do an annotated bibliography, a rhetorical analysis, a proposal with your topic. All of that comes from scholarly research. But to get to the scholarly research, you watched a video about the library, and we sort of study how to use the library in this class and how to use academic publications and how to use scholarly articles. Before you get there, though, you sort of have to have a sense of where you're going. You sort of need a little bit of a map to know what you feel that might work once you get into that scholarly search space. Now, you can do these things in conjunction with each other, but I think doing some Google searches, doing some social media searches, and just sort of exploring the topic will help you define it further. We do these things every day. We look for things every day just for general knowledge. You may be watching a TV show and then you look up the actor. You may be looking for a recipe and you look up a certain chef to see if they have the recipe online. All these things that we do. So use what you know. Use the situations that you feel most comfortable with. And for most of us, that would be with social media, Google, investigative things that we do on our phones or on our computers just to gather information. So having said that, as I talk about this, I may use some examples. It's just for the sake of talking about it. But the first thing I would do is just do a Google search. So obviously it has to be something to do with your field of study, and you may not know the direction to go in. So I'm going to give you some tips on how to do that. Here's just a way to do it. You could put innovations in nursing, okay? I didn't really put anything in there about problems, but obviously if we have an innovation about something, that's a change, that's something new. So by just putting innovations in nursing, it may come up with some things that are changing that industry. So here we see innovations in nursing, 6 ways the field is propelling forward, things that are changing. Innovations for what nurses are responsible for. Sometimes I talk to nurses and they feel like they're responsible for everything. I've recently talked to a student who's a CNA, and she felt like she was responsible for a lot of things that maybe didn't fall in her job job description. So maybe that's something to look into. The other thing I would say to ask yourself is, what are you interested in? What do you want to do with this career? What is your why? And, sometimes we talk today about the why. What is your why for doing something? If you're interested in premature babies, neonatal. I was trying to think of neonatal. If you want to work with premature infants, then put that in your search. You could put innovations in nursing for neonatal. Okay, let's just see. So then that's going to even narrow it even further. Okay, so if you see, we're seeing some technology things that we could look up, innovations, advancements, opportunities. These are all words that sort of start to narrow the focus. So look for that. Here's a great thing: improving infant lives through new feeding innovations. So this means that maybe something has been developed to help premature babies flourish faster. Years ago, I had a student. She wanted to be a nurse. We kind of narrowed it down. She was having trouble with her topic, and we narrowed it down to the fact that she wanted to work with neonatal units with premature babies. This was many years ago, so this has become more of a common practice today, but it wasn't when she did the research many years ago. But she researched kangaroo care. She found this by just doing some simple Google searches, and she found out that many neonatal units were using kangaroo care, which is when you sort of do skin-to-skin contact between the parent and the infant, or even another family member and the infant, to do skin-to-skin contact, because infants respond well to that, and it just helps them heal faster, become healthier faster, to grow more quickly, and be able to go home sooner. These days, that's kind of a common practice, but back when that student did that research, and it was probably maybe 10 years ago or so, that wasn't as common. So you're looking for things that are changing the face of that industry, something that's a problem, and there are some solutions to that problem. And that's sort of what I'm asking you to research. A lot of students hear me say, oh, research something in your field of study, and then they'll just put problems in nursing. And I just wanted to show you the difference. 5 issues nurses face today. So I'm just going to, hopefully this one will come up. Overtime, inadequate, sorry about that. Inadequate overtime, inadequate staffing, safety on the job, workplace violence. These things are more about doing the job than the innovations with actually, the job or the industry itself. Not so much, you're gonna, if you go into nursing, you're gonna cover all this in your clinicals and your nursing classes, but we're not looking for that kind of thing. We're looking for more solving problems within the industry. Like I said, innovations, changes. Another thing you could maybe do is changes occurring in nursing. I don't know if that would help or not, but you might find some things. So a trick would be to sort of mix up the way you search for things. Here's some recent changes in practices, patient safety, because being a nurse is serving the patient, so there might be ways different protocols that have changed, or different strategies that have changed. So when I say that you're solving a problem with an issue in the industry, I'm not expecting you to cure cancer or to change something big. I want you to recognize that, hey, maybe a few hospitals are using this technique, and maybe all hospitals should use it, or more hospitals should use it. Maybe this should be a standard in care, or a standard in the industry. I'm sort of using nursing as, because a lot of people want to go into nursing, but you want to vary the way you're asking for the information here in Google. Another thing that I ask you to do with the preliminary research is to look at a professional organization. All professional organizations have, all careers have professional organizations.